Hey guys, this is a real quick video response to dafrogtoad's channel. He's asking for a very simple woodworking project that can be done with hand tools, and particularly a project that can be used around the house and something that can be done simply and efficiently. And I found him through J0's channel, and I'll put a link to both of their channels on my video. But I'm going to show you how to build a Carpenter Bee Trap using simple hand tools. So let's take a look here at some of the wood and see what we can come up with. I'm going to use all reclaimed wood. I have a wood pile here I think will work very nicely, and I built that last one out of used deck board, and I think that's what we're going to do this time. Okay, so I know the lighting isn't very good, but what you need to do this project with is a drill, a hole saw, and I think that's a 1 1/4 inch hole saw, a 1/2 inch drill bit, a tape measure, some screws. You need a hand saw, or a circular saw is fine, but I'm trying to show you how to do this by hand. Make sure that the hand saw has a square function attached to it, so there's a square built into the handle. Some epoxy, a small plastic bottle, a large plastic bottle, and some brad nails and some wood. I don't have any brad nails, so I'm going to pull the nails out of the insulated plastic staples for the electrical wire. So let's get started.
When cutting by hand, I typically put my index finger up alongside the blade, and I keep it there until the blade of the handsaw starts to track into the wood on its own. So this helps me to easily keep the saw from jumping around.
Alright, so now I have my sides for the Carpenter Bee Trap. And one thing that's nice about this handsaw is when you go pick up a handsaw, make sure you pick one up that has a 45-degree and a right angle built into the handsaw handle. So it saves you from having to buy two tools. You can use this for most of your quick little projects. Saves you time and money. I'm using this to countersink my screws because in the spirit of this build, we have been asked to use what we have, and in doing so, and using what we have, I don't have any long screws left over from my project that I built over the weekend, so I'm only using some 1 1/4 drywall screws, and so I'm countersinking the screws so that I don't have to buy longer screws. See this, so far I have not used my tape measure at all. Everything I've been doing has just been eyeballing it, making sure that it's all lined up. Alright, so now we have the two sides and the back on. We just need to get the front. And for the front, we'll use this piece for the front. When I use reclaimed lumber, I like to turn the good side out because I think it looks better. But you know, not only does it look better, but I think it'll last longer with the good side out. So my boards don't line up quite right, you can see, but again, I haven't measured anything. If you were worried about looks, you wouldn't be watching this video. Alright, so now now we have our basic box built. I still need to figure out how to get this a little straighter. We can do that when we put the lid on top and when we put our bottom in. But first of all, let's build this bottom. The bottom's going to go right here, and the purpose for leaving this so much longer than the one that I showed you at the beginning of the video was to hide more of that 2-liter bottle that's hanging out the bottom. Try to keep the missus happy. There we go. Now, this is the line that I need to cut for my bottom. But before I cut that, I'm going to leave this board on here, which gives me a little leverage to hang on to it, since we don't have clamps. And I'm going to cut my hole saw, or cut my hole in the bottom, which allows the bees to get through. Now, actually, before I cut this off, I'm going to go ahead and put this bottle on the bottom of it. And I forgot to mention in the beginning, or the intro, that you want to have something to cut with. You can use any knife you have laying around, or a pair of scissors. And you can use any bottle that fits over your opening. And you can use any opening size that fits the project that you're trying to build. Round bottles are a little bit easier, but I didn't have one. Now that I have that ready, let's get some of these nails. Guess you may need a pair of pliers and a hammer to do this as well, huh? I'm not very good at those build lists. I always find things I need later. If anybody has an idea on what you can use these plastic leftovers for, help me keep them out of the landfill, I'm open to ideas. Comment below. Alright, so there you have it. We have this thing on, ready to go. Now it's time to cut it off. Next step is put your holes in the top where your bees are going to fly in, or where they think their holes are already bored for them. And you want to bring it down about an inch. I'm not going to measure, but you want to put it down about an inch and right in the middle of your board on each side. I don't know what angle this is, but you want it to, you want your bit to be boring at a slight angle up towards the inside, so when they land and crawl in, they're crawling up. So let's just act like we know what we're doing. Now it's time for a lid. Alright, that part of the lid's on. There's my project. Looks good, doesn't it? Now, since I haven't measured everything, it ain't perfect, but I don't care. I really don't. You don't even need to put these things together with screws. You can put them together with glue and nails. And the value to this thing is it keeps the darn carpenter bees trap your carpenter bees instead of letting them chew on your wood and chew on your house. In my case, the shed, but no, you can put these things all over your property. And they work great. Oh, I need to find something to hang it with. That's kind of critical. And I'm just going to eyeball this again. Just guesstimate where the center is at. And one way you can kind of do that is you can pick up with your fingers and see how it hangs and get an idea of where the center is at here. So I'm going to say that the center of gravity is about right where that chip is in the wood. And I'm going to guesstimate the center this way. And one thing nice is this drill actually has a little level bubble in it. So I knew right where I was at. You know, you might want to use a screwdriver to screw this thing in with, but if you don't have a screwdriver, you can put anything in there. A pair of pliers, hammer, anything that will fit through that hole or around it. And this is what we have so far. We've got our small plastic bottle in here. And I've already prepared a piece that will connect it. You can really use anything you want. In my case, what I did was I took 2 plastic bottle caps, put them inside this flexible pipe, and used epoxy, glued them in there, and then once that epoxy had set, drilled them out. So now I have a hole in it. If your better half is like mine, she doesn't like to see these wrappers on here. She'd rather have a clear bottle, and frankly I would too. I think it looks better. So we take a clear bottle, remove the cap, put that cap on the one that you're going to discard, has your dead bees in it. Screw this one on. There you go. I just used 4 screws and I fastened this thing up to the siding because I decided I wanted it to be a little bit more permanent. That's all there is to it. It's a simple project from home, and it doesn't get any easier than that. The only power tool that I used was a drill. I didn't even use a tape measure like I thought I would. So, and it looks decent. So we'll see how many bumblebees we catch, or I guess we call them carpenter bees down here in the south. But we'll see how many we get from it. You know, one more thing too is I didn't throw anything away from this project. Here's a couple of pieces of wood that's left over, and the hole that I cut out with the drill. Now I'm going to save that, and I can use it to make a wheel out of for one of the kids' projects. I can make a little race car or toy that they can play with outside, and that can be the wheel. So I don't like to throw anything away, and here's the plastic pieces that I had left over and some leftover nails, and I'll use that at a later date sometime.
If you found this video to be helpful, informative, or otherwise entertaining, don't forget to subscribe. And remember to smile for a stranger today. You'll both be glad you did.